And there you are. I've been waiting for you. So nice of you to return or join us for the first time on the Jim Master Show live entertainment lifestyle talk show series. This is our entertainment lifestyle talk show series that's bringing back the lost art of conversation, sort of old school style, as we mention all the time. Little Carson, little Cavett, Mike Douglas, Merv Griffin, some of the original TV hosts and presenters, and then we flip it a little, add in a modern vibe, modern twist, and you've got the Jim Master Show live entertainment lifestyle talk show series. We've done something like 600 episodes live. Guests coming in from Broadway, Hollywood, television, film, stage, music, culinary arts, comedy, sports, inspiration, and everything in between. You guys know I work in television, radio professionally, and that's how this show sort of developed. Our lovely audience is watching around the world. They're commenting galore. Thanks for all the great comments, guys. We absolutely love it. We're going to check in with the comments. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you're having a good day. If you're not having a good day, stick with us. You know we're going to put a smile on your face. We always have our light, love, and levity, and our famous JMS levity, too. Now, our very special guest, Carolyn Hennesy, she already said, can I be a levity? I want to be a levity. I mean, she's got Emmys and everything else, but she really has worked her entire career to become a Jim Master Show levity. And that's going to happen tonight live. So don't touch that dial. Matter of fact, before you touch the dial, don't touch that dial. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV, where we house this entire entertainment lifestyle talk show series. Jim Masters TV, subscribe to it, click the notification bell so you never miss any of our incredible episodes with our fabulous guests. And also, while you're doing that, give us a thumbs up, like as well, and leave a comment on the YouTube channel. We would love that. Thanks, gang. You guys are the best. Thanks for these comments piling up here. We'll check in with our lovely audience watching live around the world. And those of you who are watching this later, we thank you as well for all the support and love for this series. It's a unique community that we've created here on the Jim Master Show Live. And it's a pleasure to have you here. Also a pleasure to have Carolyn here live and direct from beautiful Burbank. Yes, I was just in Burbank maybe about a year and a half ago, before COVID, of course, on a TV shoot. Great spot. We are very excited to welcome twice nominated actress in 2021 for Best Supporting Actress as Diane Miller in General Hospital, and outstanding performance by an actress in the daytime fiction program as Gloria Winton in Studio City. Also, previous Emmy winner Carolyn Hennesy just celebrated her landmark 500th episode on ABC's General Hospital. From an Oscar-winning family to her own Emmy Gold, Carolyn Hennesy has created characters that fans love to hate, but they love her on both the big and small screen. One of the more recognizable, of course, is Diane Miller on General Hospital, GH, on ABC. Now, of course, you know, the COVID pandemic has delayed the landmark moment, but guess what? She has completed that episode, and it's extraordinary. In addition, she was nominated back in 2020 with Daytime Emmy in the category of supporting actress in a digital drama for her role as Studio City as well. Yes. And of course, got outstanding performance, which is exciting, and so much more. Also, prior to that, lots more. If you guys know her background, you've been following her, she's extraordinary. She plays the yet the cold, calculating villainess of Gloria Winton, of course, the executive producer of the fictional show within a show, Hearts on Fire. Prior to that, Ms. Hennesy won the Emmy for Outstanding Supporting Guest Actress in a Digital Drama as Karen Blackwell in The Bay. Yes, this is just the short list, folks. As the niece of Hollywood veteran Barbara Rush, did you know that, folks? And her Academy Award-winning father, Dale Hennessy, Carolyn is no stranger to the industry of entertainment. Emmy-winning Carolyn's long list of credits, as I've mentioned, also include major roles in True Blood, Revenge, Cougar Town, and of course, General Hospital, Disney Channel's Jessie, NCIS, Adam Ruins Everything, A Snow White Christmas, Dawson's Creek. She was on Gilmore Girls, and so much more. And of course, St. Agatha, the horror feature. And she was also involved with Masterclass, the beautiful play by Terrence McNally, who we lost not that long ago. And also in Swing of Things and so much more. In addition to all of that, she has a successful career as a writer, creating the popular Pandora tween book series. And of course, she's penned the fabulous New York Times bestseller, The Secret Life of Damien Spinelli. She lends her time as well to wonderful causes. She focuses on animal rescue and advocacy with her own online podcast, Animal Magnetism, which highlights global animal advocacy issues. And for fun and workout, she even flies trapeze. That's just the short list, folks. Just a few of the many things, but you guys know that already, don't you? And if you didn't, well, I'm so glad to be able to tell you about some of that. We're going to have a great time. We were already laughing sort of backstage. She was in our green room enjoying our champagne and, of course, the caviar and I guess we had chicken fingers and probably pigs in a blanket for her as well. We'll check in. We always feed our guests gloriously in the green room. Have you been enjoying our champagne, caviar, and pigs in the blanket, Carolyn?
Woo! You bet. I'm on my third glass. Yay!
Only the best for our guests.
Yes.
Only the best.
Diet Coke and Nathan's Famous. That's
yeah.
the high five. Please. I don't know what you feed everybody else.
How are you there in beautiful Burbank, California?
Wonderfully well. Yes, and it is beautiful. I mean, you and I were talking before, and it's gloomy outside today.
Yeah. Yes.
But I love that. I love that because we're sun all the time. So anytime we can get a little overcast, maybe some sprinkles, maybe some a good old downpour, we love it. We just love it out here. So
how have you been doing during all this craziness? I mean, you've been keeping busy, of course, and you always have a lot of different irons in the fire, and you love what you do, but we've been in a strange time, and there's been a lot of teachable moments, a lot of lessons learned. What are some things that you've been doing to keep, as I say, creative, connected, collaborative, and sane during all of this?
And all that rolled into one for me, equals a life lived without fear. So I if COVID comes near me, it's like, get off.
Yeah.
I back. I refuse to even entertain the notion of you. And so far, I've been very lucky. So for me, again, it all boils down to gratitude.
Yes.
Because General Hospital was down for about 3 months, and that was it. And we all sort of found things to do with ourselves for 3 months, but then we were back up.
Yes.
And we have not come down again. The protocols are top notch. If anyone ever tells you that the actors on General Hospital are walking around without masks, I send them my way, because I will refute that.
Yes.
We're masked up one side and down the other. We're tested, we're vaxxed. And so we are working. And it's wonderful. Hollywood is slowly starting to come back.
Yeah.
I've done some movies in the last year and a half, 2 years. I've done some movies, done a little bit of television, General Hospital, of course, and yes, 500 episodes, which is great. But what's really cool is that I just hit my 15th year.
Isn't that incredible? Did that not go by in a New York minute, or what?
It did. It kind of did. Yes, a lot happened. But I went, wait a minute. It was just the other day that I was, for this supposedly 2-day role, I was bringing my own wardrobe, seeing what they thought was cool for the lawyer to wear. And now Diane, of course, has her own line in the wardrobe room. And,
yes.
So that's fun. But I've been writing. I've been doing a boatload of reading, a lot of exercise, and the one thing I do, you hit on it, was I fly trapeze. And I also hang trapeze. So they're two different animals. One is you see it in Ringling Brothers. It's, he flies through the air with the greatest of ease. Notice I didn't say she, because she does not fly through the air with the greatest of ease. She just flies and then falls. I fly, and then you see a lot of the static or single or hanging trapeze in Cirque du Soleil. So I have one of those at the end of my driveway. So I've been getting into shape and choreographing routines on the trapeze. So that's been, if there's an upside, if there's a silver lining to any of this, for me personally,
Yeah.
it's that.
So when are we going to see you in Cirque du Soleil? Coming soon?
Yeah, no, no. They would they'd look at me and go, "Oh, so lovely for an older lady, lovely. We're gonna go back over here with the 12-year-olds that,
With the 12.
smoke and drink coffee." So that's all they do.
That is. But you also, I mean, you come from a Hollywood family. It's in your blood, it's in your DNA, it's in your veins. Take us back earlier when you were a kid and witnessing your father's extraordinary career, and of course your aunt. I mean, these are veterans in the industry. Um, did they, and were there others that sort of provided this early on inspiration for you to want to perform, connect, entertain, relate to people in the phenomenal way that you've done for so many years and continue to do, Carolyn?
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, it's clear in my mind. When I was 4, my mother took both my younger brother and I to 20th Century Fox, to soundstage. I believe it was 5, might have been 6, one of the two. And on that soundstage was filming Fantastic Voyage. It later housed all the sets for Young Frankenstein, which my father also worked on. But at that time, it was Fantastic Voyage. And I walked into this big dark room, onto this soundstage. And I remember it being pitch black. And yet at the kind of somewhere at the far end in the middle, there was this light and all these lights and this small hub of activity. And I had no idea what was going on, knew nothing. I was 4, but again, it's still clear as a bell. And I thought, I don't know what goes on there in that circle of light. I just know that I'm going to do it.
Mhm.
Whatever it is. And it could have been being a key grip. It could have been being what they call script supervisor, could have been directing, could have been, I don't know. But it turned out that I had a facility for being in front of the camera. So everything from that point was geared toward getting on stage, getting in front of the camera, doing that thing that I just discovered almost innately the first time I was ever on stage. I went, oh yeah, oh, that thing that you knew you wanted to do it for, yeah, you were right. You listened to your gut, and you kind of, you're going for it. And as a result of that, I became a studio brat. My father, wherever my father was, Warner Brothers, 20th Century Fox, MGM, Sony, NBC, wherever he was, I tried to find him and spend as much time as I possibly could being that studio brat. I mean, just walking onto a soundstage and just in a deep inhale, because that's history and many years and probably a lot of mildew and asbestos. But
yes,
other than that, a lot of ghosts on those stage, and it's just breathe that in and close your eyes and realize that so much of what has shaped our society culturally was shot on all of these stages, and then disseminated to a mass audience, and the lessons that those classic films, classic television that they taught us were just that was my food
early on. So then you really soaked it all up. You really paid homage to and respect to the monumental nature of everything that was around you, and you were really absorbing that, and that was sort of tickling your fancy a little, huh?
Absolutely. I just essentially knew what I was supposed to do from a very, very young age. And so, elementary school, junior high school, high school, university, everyone who was kind of like didn't know what they wanted to do, I bypassed all of that. I was very directed and very focused. And fortunately, I had this wonderful father who was on location a lot, but a lot of time he was here. And again, I would try and find him. And I watched all the great lessons that I learned about this business, how you behave in this business, and then extrapolating that to how you behave in life, or at least try to, as much as you humanly possibly can, because we all fail, we all make mistakes. But the guidelines I got from my father were clear in how any crew. He was the production designer, so he was behind the scenes. He was back of the camera. He was responsible for the look of any project that he was hired on. So Logan's Run and Young Frankenstein and Annie and Dirty Harry and the King Kong with Jessica Lange and
classics,
for which he won the Academy Award, Fantastic Voyage. And people hear Logan's Run and their eyes kind of roll back, or they hear Young Frankenstein and their eyes roll back, or even Fantastic Voyage. It was very clear the way anyone who worked underneath my dad, the crew, just revered him.
Yeah.
Revered him. And that you do not see a lot of.
Nope.
Where it's truly honest, because actors will say, oh my gosh, he's the next best thing. He's a revelation. He's the next best thing since sliced bread. She's just, a gift from God. And sometimes they mean it. Sometimes they don't.
Right.
But when my father passed away when I was 19.
Yeah.
And that's when I was just starting to kind of make inroads into the business. And people would come up to me and say, you're Dale Hennessy's daughter. Oh, okay. What can we do for you? We can't cast you in anything, but we can paint your house. We can light it. We can give you lumber. What do you need? And it's like, thank you. No, thank you. But thank you. But so my father taught me the most invaluable lessons of my place in this business and my place in life. And that is, the crew works harder in a day than you will in a year.
Oh,
and
it's amazing.
And they're better educated. They're better read. They're nicer. They've seen it all coming and going. So you ain't gonna be anything special.
Right.
Unless you treat them with dignity and respect.
Exactly.
And then, because that is so rare, they'll do a double take and go, what? You know our names? Oh, well, what can we do for you? You know what I mean? It's like they can be your best friend, but you don't treat them well so that they will become your best friend. You treat them well because they're human beings, and again, work so much harder than I probably ever will.
Some of my best conversations happen in between shooting and when we're talking to, the crew, the camera people, or whoever. And I love what you're saying, because I've always said this, and I've even said it on this show with some of the guests and the viewers. I was always trained coming up the ranks to appreciate and know at least something about what every single person is doing. Even the folks in the sales and promotion department know everything, because every piece of it is a puzzle and it all is linked. So because maybe you're here with the lights on you and you're on set and the makeup artist is coming and powdering you up, everybody else, there's a reason why they're there. They want to be there. They're excited. They have a purpose. And when you honor that and you respect that, and also know a little bit about what they're doing, because there's been times where I've been thrown out there because the other person fell ill or didn't show up, and just had to go and help however I could. I love the way that you've picked that up really early in your life, to understand the entire process and not just the one-way thinking of just Carolyn.
Oh, please.
It's just a team. It takes a village.
Yeah. In fact, I say now, and I've said this for many, many years, that my mantra, it used to be my mantra on set, and then my mantra in life is, my job is to make your job easier. That's my job. You've hired me for a role, and 999 times out of 1,000, I've got that. Okay, I've been around. I've been doing it long enough. I know how to get to where I need to go. I need to know where to go deep, where to mine, for these nuggets of gold. That's great. I've got that. You've hired me because you pretty much know that I've got that. So now I can relax a little bit on set, make it fun for me. It has to be fun for me, because that's going to bleed through onto any screen, no matter if it's a horror movie, if I'm being an absolute bitch, If as long as I'm having fun, that's gonna read. And if I'm having fun on set, everyone else is gonna have fun too, or at least their fun quotient will be upped a little bit. And sometimes making their job easier just means getting out of the way.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like points coming through. It's like, oh, I'll fly over here. What do you need? Oh, how can I help? What can I do? Now there are so many union rules. It's like, you can't pick that up. You can't touch, you can't move that.
Yes, can't touch anything, right?
I'll just stay out of your way. But if I can help, just let me know. Just let me know. And sometimes making their job easier is knowing their name and saying, good morning, so and so. And then again, their eyes go wide. It's like, oh my God, she knows. It's like, it's not even that I'm any great shape. I'm just an actor who now knows their name. It's like, yeah, because we all put our pants on one leg at a time. It's
exactly right. Yes.
It's really, really that simple. And when I teach, when I lecture,
yeah,
I will say, young actors, pay attention.
Yeah.
You want to be the one that they bring back, because you want to be so much fun to work with on a set. You want to be the one that they want to spend sometimes 16, 17, 18 hours, sometimes longer, in a big dark room with. And so the one thing you don't do is you don't talk about acting. You don't talk about your process. You don't talk about, the last job you had, because that's boring. It's just boring. These from soup to nuts, from the PAs who do the hardest work, up down, to the director, to the cameraman. These are people who don't give a crap about your acting process. They want to know, what are your hobbies? What are you reading? What's the best thing you've eaten lately? Do you know what I mean? They want to know that you're a well-rounded person that they can have a discussion with about other topics. So, so I say, be a sponge and soak up everything.
Yes.
Able to not only regurgitate that back in a wonderful performance, but also as a human being on a soundstage. And so, so that has stood me in good stead.
Very important. I was on a commercial shoot in New York once. I was spokesman for this chain of dealerships, and the female counterpart that they brought in, it was the very first time that she was ever acting in a commercial or performing in a commercial, and in a spokesperson role. And she would made a deadly error that really cost her what was going to be a multitude of ongoing commercials that would last for a long time.
Yeah.
And that is when there was downtime in between her needing to be on set or outside, it was all outside. She brought her modeling portfolio and was showing everybody her modeling portfolio. Oh, well, I'm here on this commercial shoot, but I'm a model too. Here are my prints. Here are my headshots. And the other talent were like, close that now. Don't let the executive producer see that. Don't let anybody see that. Yeah. Oh, well, look what I do. I do this. And she was passing it around, and everybody was like, no. And then she started to tap her foot about, when are we going to break to eat?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Loudly. And this was her first time. And everybody tried to warn her, because the executive producer, who was an extraordinarily talented person, can be finicky, maybe a little moody, but was a perfectionist and was going to do whatever it took to get that shot, especially since we were outdoors and the sun was setting, everything had to match. So instead of going that extra mile a little bit, she was like, come on, on my modeling shoots, we would have eaten already, or what have you.
Actually verbal about it. Yeah.
And that ended up getting back. He overheard it because she had a microphone on.
Of course.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Sayonara, sister. I hope that modeling. First of all, of course, she's going to want to know when lunch is. She's a model, and they're always hungry. That's number one. So if it was like free food. Free food. Oh, when?
She doesn't want celery sticks either.
Everybody wants to know when lunch is. Everybody does.
Yeah.
You don't say it.
Right. And the modeling portfolio too. I mean, on a commercial shoot.
No. And because first of all, everyone on that set wants to know that everyone else on that set is focused on this project.
Yes.
You are here. We bought you. We own you for the day. So, or the week or the weeks. And when you're on this set, and when you leave it, we have no control. But when you're on this set, you need to be focused on what we're doing because we're paying you.
Yes, right.
So have
Yeah.
we ever heard from her again? Yes, her name is Julia Roberts. No, have we ever heard from her again? Probably not.
That she disappeared. That was it. It was recasts effective ASAP.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
recast
Foolishness.
quickly.
Oh, I've got some horror stories about actors that you've seen them, you admire them, you respect their talent, and then you actually get to work with them. Most of the time, they're all just fabulous. They're wonderful. And then you've got some horror stories. It's like, oh my gosh, how many years have you been in this business?
Yeah.
Really? And like, I didn't need the lesson, but thanks. Thanks again. I just no way. Yeah. So I have a few horror stories.
Well, what was great about you is when we said, we could offer the champagne in the green room, you said, you don't have to go through that trouble. I'll take the Hawaiian punch. You're very easy.
Listen, I could be had for a baked potato. And
if it's twice baked, oh boy.
If it's twice baked, oh.
So for you, what would you say, Carolyn, was, obviously you were born into the business, you respect the business, you know about dues paying and coming up the farm system. You have this illustrious background, but you really wanted to carve out your path, do Carolyn's thing, not necessarily rest on the laurels of the family, even though the family, are great influences. What would you say was probably one of those key pivotal door opening opportunities for you that really started to get that ball rolling forward? People noticed Carolyn's talent, they enjoy working with her, and things started to flourish from there.
Well, first of all, just backtracking a little bit, yes, I did grow up in this business, but I've also got this aunt, Barbara Rush, and I got, I've watched her, but very little advice, nothing. So basically, I learned what I learned from my father, and my father again passed when I was 19. So everything that I got really was, I can honestly say it was by my own best efforts.
Yeah.
Nothing was ever handed to me.
Right.
Ever.
Right.
Ever. Probably when things really, because I think I started earning my living where I didn't have to do anything else in my early mid-30s. And that was some time ago, but that was cobbling together, a guest star here and a little arc over here, and a day's job on a soap opera over here, and you're cobbling it together. But truly, it was when Mark Measures, who's the casting director for General Hospital, called me and said, "Hennessy," and I said, "Mark," and he said, "I've got some work for you." I said, "Terrific." He goes, "Yeah," because he had seen a play that I'd done years before. And he started following the actors that he really loves. He keeps tabs on them and what are they doing? And I need to go see it. And he will go, he's one of those in this business that will actually get off his ass and go see somebody.
Right.
So he'd seen me and he says, "Yeah, I've got, are you available? I've just got a couple of days work for you." And I said, "Sure, what do I, of course. Of course, I'm a journeyman actor. I'm the younger, prettier Michael Caine. I will do anything." And he said, "Yeah, you're going to come on to General Hospital. You're going to be Sonny's lawyer." And I went, "Oh, great. Who's Sonny?" And he was, "Oh, you don't know who Sonny Corinthos is, played by Maurice Benard, the actor and the hottest character in Daytime." I said, "No, I don't." So I went on and did my thing and interacted with Maurice and interacted with Bradford Anderson, who plays Damian Spinelli, and Steve Burton, who's, my darling Steve Burton, who plays Jason Morgan. And they saw something in the interaction with my character, Diane, with all of these. And they went, "Oh, we need to explore this a little further." So that 2 days of work turns into 15 years. Oh, I think we may even be coming up on, well, I don't know where we are in the episode count. Maybe it's like 5:30 now. But that's huge. That's a long, long time. And the fans, who are the smartest people on the planet, they have taken Diane to their heart. They love Diane. So it's all yes. Oh, looking down her nose. at something.
I love that shot. What are you thinking there? Or
God
what is she thinking?
Diane is probably looking at Sonny saying, if I could just smack you upside the head because you're about to say something or do something really stupid. So that's probably what she's thinking. But that role and that again, that exploration of Diane Miller and allowing, I know what I was doing there. I was sitting on a couch talking to, I think it was either Elizabeth or Carly. And just and it was probably Carly, because if you see the look on my face, it's like, I am so over you, Carly. So over you. You are getting on my last nerve. But it was that, because from that, people watched it, the kind of a small little buzz, even though it's daytime, the buzz, and I had done so much prime time before that. So now there's this, and I had also I was also writing. I'd started my book series, the Pandora series. So there was all this kind of stuff that I was doing. So that enables you to walk into any audition situation and not be desperate, because they can smell desperate a mile away, and no one wants to work with desperate.
Right.
They want to know, and when you're not desperate, that's like an aphrodisiac to them. To the
You
people.
can't even be desperate to work on Desperate Housewives.
You can't, not at all. And they kind of go, "Oh, really? You don't need us? You don't need this job? Well, let's hire her, because there's something going on with that."
Yeah.
So there was this whole sort of mental state, this mindset that I was in, and it's continued from there moving forward. But it was during General Hospital, shortly thereafter, that I got Jessie and Cougar Town and Revenge and all of these other things. In fact, and True Blood. In fact, there was 1 year where I actually couldn't be on General Hospital because I was doing everything else.
Because you were doing all the rest,
all that other stuff.
Like you said, Jessie.
Yes, Jessie.
How did you like playing the character in Jessie? Disney.
Mrs. Chesterfield is one of the all-time great characters that I will ever play, because the cast, the crew, again, Pam Els, who created the show, is to this day one of my very dearest friends. And what she would write for me, what the writers would write for me, was like comedy gold. But it was also a wonderful lesson in, you will be put in funny costumes, and they will get wackier as the years go on. You will have this dog that you have a natural attachment to. You cannot stand these kids. You've possibly murdered 3 husbands. I mean, who knows? And you're in love with the upstairs butler. You are in love with the upstairs with Bertrand. So it's all crazy and wacky, and it's very broad. But if you comment on any of it, everything is sunk. You have to go balls to the wall.
Yeah.
Absolutely commit to what you are doing. Believe it. And so, and it was wonderful. And that's what made, and they all did, all 4 of those kids, everybody on that show, committed. And it was reality. These were life and death, high stakes, very, very funny shows. And that's what made them work. The fact that we were all so committed to it. So I wrote a Chesterfield, because she's one of those characters, you hate to love her and you love to hate her. And she's a monster who always gets her comeuppance at the end of every episode. So that somehow
something's going
lining up in the Matrix, and she's got to be learning some lesson somewhere. So
talk about incredible variety and range. Terminator 3.
Oh my gosh, look at that face. Look at that wrinkleless face. Yes. Yes. Yeah, that's a funny story. Okay, here's the story of that. I was the first human being killed in Terminator 3. Now, they fit me for what's happening right now is that I am watching this very naked Kristana Loken, the Terminatrix, walk across Rodeo Drive, and it's probably about 3:30 in the morning when we're filming this. But it's the last day of filming, and the Terminatrix walks up to me. She takes my car, my wardrobe, and my hairstyle.
Mm.
So it's the last day of like a 235-day shoot. I mean, it's right the last day.
Yeah.
Naturally, Kristana Loken has been in what is this hairstyle
Hmm.
for the last 235 days. So I walk in with this hairstyle, right? With my short and sassy hair. And this. I walk in with this, right? Short. And hair and makeup takes one look at me and goes, what, what what's happening? Where's your hair? And I went, what do you mean, where's my hair? This is what I auditioned with. This is what they knew. This is on my headshot. This is why? What's the problem? And they said, well, this is Kristana Loken. Slicked back, a bun, like coiled in the back. And I went, oh, well, fortunately, this is not my department. But how can I make your job easier? So they panicked. They literally panicked. So there is about 1,000 pounds of like dippity do or whatever it is on that head, right, that you're looking at right there. And they somehow found this hair piece that I think they sprayed it with like spray color to kind of get it to match my normal color. And they tacked that onto my head with 5,000 bobby pins. And they somehow made me look like her. As opposed to making her look like me, they made me look like her. But they were horrified when I walked in. And it's like, I'm sorry. But that shoot was so extraordinary because it was, I think at that time, the biggest budget for any film ever, like $250 million. I could be wrong, but it was huge. And it was the last day. So everybody was getting rid of everything, which meant that there was like shrimp scampi at Crafty. And there was like, steak. And I was like, oh, look at this. Again, free food.
Yeah.
So I'd hear over the walkie-talkies. It's like, does anyone have eyes on Carolyn? It's like, yeah, she's at Crafty. Again, yeah, she's at Crafty. It's like shoveling into my pockets lined with plastic. And then that wasn't even like the first meal. It was just lobster. Oh, this is the day when I'm glad to be an actor. Yay.
That's it.
It's not always like that, but yeah.
And I bet you didn't ask when the food was going to be served, like the other.
It was scampi and steak at Crafty. It's like, pardon me, you're not going to need me for a little bit. Well, will you? I'm just going to run over here.
We don't want it to spoil. Dawson's Creek too.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
And the love to hate her, Mrs. Valentine, who ran the yacht club. And I think right there I am speaking to Katie Holmes. I think I'm speaking to Joey. And again, it's one of those characters it was not over the top. It was subtle. It was vile. She was nasty. But again, at the end of every episode, Mrs. Valentine got her ass handed to her. Some lesson. So that was a lot of fun. And that's where I learned to love Wilmington.
Yes, that's where they did the filming, right? Yes.
Yeah. It's the first time I ever felt like hot rain. I went, it's raining, but it's hot. I can stand out here and not.
I mentioned, and this sort of spurred the memory of folks too, and they were very excited that you worked with Adam Sandler in Click. Tell us about that too.
Well, he's a champ. He's just a champ. One of the smartest men in show business. You cannot like his sense of humor, although if you're smart, you do. And you cannot like his films, although if you're smart, you do. Maybe not Jack and Jill. I mean, let's be honest. But anyway, other than that, Click had such an interesting premise, and he's such a gentleman. I play the mother of the next door neighbor who is not a fan of his characters, of his character. And the mother's not a fan of his. So, I mean, I think there was like Joey or whatever my son's name is, get back here. What are you doing over there? But he didn't have to, because he's that big. But
Yeah.
there again, the bigger they are, more often than not, the nicer they are. And especially working his way up in comedy the way he did. He took the time, he came over, introduced himself, and was lovely. Just
Yeah.
lovely. So, I'm a huge Sandler fan, in addition to the fact that he's one of the funniest men on the planet, you know.
Yeah.
So there's that. Yeah, he's lovely. And when someone that's when I learned that, and I've had this happen when it's my show, not my show, but like when it's a show that I am an integral part of, like General Hospital. You get atmosphere. You get, background people in Kelly's or Jake's or the Metro Court or wherever it is. And these are individuals who want to act. Most of them. Some of them just love the life of being atmosphere.
Right.
Most of them want to act. And I have heard nightmare stories
Mm.
about actors on soaps, on primetime, that say, I don't want them to look at me. They can't speak to me. They can't talk to me. They can't this, they can't, I'm not, in other words, I'm not approachable. They're messing with my process, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I, being a journeyman actor,
Yeah.
still, I think I will always consider myself to be a journeyman actor, no matter how infamous
Yes.
I
Yeah.
might become, right? Because I know how hard it is. How hard it is. I'm all about, hey, how you doing? Are you guys having fun? Yeah? You guys having
Yeah.
fun? And almost 99 times out of 100, everyone's just like, thanks. That's really cool. And we can strike up a dialogue. Then I say, you know
Exactly.
what, guys? I gotta go work. Gotta go work. But we'll see each other. We'll see each other in the hallway. It's like, and you just, because this business will break you in two. It
Yes.
will rummage around inside your soul, and it'll twist you up, and then it'll put you back together again and say, now have fun. And you end up being bitter and jaded and awful. So I know I've done extra work when I was much, much younger. It's not easy. It can be
No.
fun if you make it fun, but I know how hard it is. And it's people who are not nice to breakfast waitresses are not nice people. People who are not nice to atmosphere actors are not good human beings. They might be fine actors, but they're not good human beings. And I just say that's never going to be me, because I know what it's like. And there, but for the grace of God, go I. So be cool. Make someone and some, make their life easier for just a second. Why not? What's it cost you? Cost you
Exactly.
except
Exactly right.
garners you great karma points.
And then oftentimes too, because the crew and others, producers, because you were nice and went the extra mile, when they're casting something else, they're like, that Carolyn, she was easy
Yeah.
to work with. She went the extra mile. She didn't flip the ship over.
Yeah.
We want to work with her. She would
And
be great.
and she's good, and she comes in, she knows her lines, she hits her mark. So sometimes, sometimes I've just been given stuff. It's like, can you be here at this time? It's like, yes, I can. Would you like to go through my agent so that I don't have to negotiate for myself? And so, but yes, I will be there. Yes, I will be there. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because
Exactly.
actors still have the reputation, very often, of being actors.
A little fickle or fickle.
Well,
I was going through the alphabet
yes.
and stopped at that.
Let's work backwards. Self-centered, arrogant, egotistical. It's and nobody's that special. Nobody's that special.
Like you said, we all put the pant leg on,
We do, and
They don't all do the trapeze though.
they don't. No, a lot of them don't. Although I've said to everybody, I say, if you have the opportunity to get on a flying trapeze, just go climb up that ladder, take one swing, because worlds will open up for you. If you can do that, you have conquered something in yourself, especially the people that are afraid of heights. Because I used to be afraid of heights somewhat. Now I'm scampering up like a squirrel, and I'm dancing around up on the board, and it's, I mean, I'm not dumb. I hold on, but
Yes.
but vistas will open up for you.
Exactly.
The limitlessness will become even more limitless, if that makes it. You know what I mean? It's like, if I can do this, I can do anything.
Exactly. And that's so true. I mean, that's not everybody seems to get that, right? And I guess, if the nice doesn't work out, you could always try revenge.
Oh, yes, I could. I could. There again, one of these, look at that hair. God, they teased it up to God. Penelope Ellis, wonderful character. Again, but there was humor in not what she said, but how it was said, how I said it.
Yeah.
But she was vile. Vile. And what she put this girl, Elena Satin, what she put her daughter through. I mean, my God, she should have been shot. But again, those roles, the bitch roles, are always so much more fun to play, because there's this great adage that the snake gets the best lines and the best shoes. So, and it's true, and they are.
And is that true?
Of course, absolutely. And they're so much more fun to play than the delightful wallflowers and the ingenues and Juliet, because you get to explore parts of yourself that, if you explore them in public, in real life, you're arrested.
You're going to be locked up. Yes.
You're institutionalized.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that, but it's fun to go there and get paid for it. And then come back. Then come back. And then come back. I did this film called Saint Agatha, where again, and it was the most evil. I mean, I'm the big bad in the movie.
Yes, you did. There you are.
And there is nothing funny about Mother Superior. There's nothing, and she's just. I mean, the facial.
You're extraordinary in it. Yeah, I mean, it just shows the level of talent. Just really, so you're so believable in everything you do.
But Mother Superior was particularly awful.
Yes.
And I won't spoil it.
Right.
For your listeners and viewers, but there's a particular moment where this one young novitiate, I encourage her to do a bit of self-mutilation, right? Because her tongue has been wagging. She's been telling tales out of school, so I encourage her to fill in the blank.
Not necessarily bite her nails.
No. I encourage her to do that, and I was telling this to my then therapist, who may have fired me for this reason. I don't know. And I said, yeah. So she has to do this, but I come rushing back in, and all of the other little girls are kind of gathered around her, and she hasn't finished the job. So I said to the director, I said, well, why doesn't Mother Superior just finish it for her? He went, oh, and this is a man named Darren Bousman, who directed Saw 2, 3, and 4. This man knows gore, he knows blood, he knows inventiveness, and he looked at me like, oh, do you want to do that? I went, of course, that's what Mother Superior would do. So I end up finishing it, and my therapist looked at me and said, how do you come back from that? I said, because it's acting. It's make-believe. I hope to heaven I would never do that in real life. But it's fun to go there.
Yes.
And come back and realize that, especially when you're watching.
It challenges you, doesn't it? It challenges you. Now, that role or any of the roles that you've had the pleasure of being involved in, have you ever gotten so attached to a role? It's so intense, it's so consuming, that even when you're off set and the lights are off and you're not even near the building, you're home, you're wherever, it's still so intense that it's tough to detach from that role, that person. Have you had that?
Yes. And that was a stage play. That was Masterclass. That was Maria Callas.
Which
Um,
I know was one of your favorite things you've ever done in your career, of all the beautiful things, right? Terrence
that was
McNally, and
yes,
that
yes,
was brilliant. You
and
were brilliant.
that was DNA changing. That and but it was one of those things where I didn't want to detach. I didn't want to detach from this brilliant, manic, tempestuous, genius performer. And what Terrence McNally wrote for her to say based on Maria Callas's master classes at Juilliard. He took a lot of those transcripts because she was teaching when all she could do was teach at that point. And she was vicious. She was brutal. She was at the tail end of her career. She wasn't too many years away from actually passing away. She could no longer sing. And at one point Callas has to sing, or has to attempt to sing in masterclass, and it comes out as this cracked, broken wreckage, and she's just shattered. She's shattered through a lot of it. But what he's written for her to say about performing and art, the art of performing, is as true today and for me, and is as it was for her. And she's just this bona fide Amazon who's broken. And it's and so I just delved. I did the deepest possible dive down into the rabbit hole, and I read everything about her. I watched her, and if anyone listening or watching knows her, then you know.
Yes.
Those who don't, please just Google Visti d'arte from Tosca on YouTube. Just Google it.
What was it like being exposed to somebody of the likes of Terrence McNally? Extraordinary, huh?
Well, truly wonderful. Truly wonderful, because he again, as she tapped into something that's beyond the veil.
Beyond, right.
So did he. He
Yeah.
might have taken the transcripts, but it's still what her words, what those transcripts are then being altered and being filtered through him and his ideas of art and what it means to be the consummate artist. That doesn't matter who you are or what you're doing or where you're doing it. When you stand on a stage or you stand in front of a camera and the words are coming out of your mouth, for that moment, the audience has to be convinced that what you are saying is the most important thing that is being said in the universe at that moment. They have to listen to you. They must listen to you. That is your job as an artist, as a performer. So being able to say those words, and we did have. In fact, I'm looking at the poster in my office right now. It's like, yeah, that was extraordinary. We did have toward the end of the run, Terrence McNally was going to come out and see it because Terrence McNally was best friends with Gary Marshall, the wonderful television, the director, producer, Happy Days and Pretty Woman and all these things. Best friends. And so that's the reason that we got to do it for the inaugural production of the inaugural season of the opening of the Gary Marshall Theater. It became the Falcon Theater, and then upon Gary's passing, it became the Gary Marshall Theater. So Terrence McNally was going to come out and see it. And he was too ill to do that. So he sent a representative, and none of the cast knew this, but our artistic director knew this. And towards the end of the run, Terrence wrote him and said, "My emissary has told me that of all the productions, and my emissary has seen all of them, this was the finest one that was ever done." And that's, and listen, Zoe Caldwell won the Tony for it on Broadway, no slouch, but that this was the one that really got to the heart of it. Yeah. And so that for me will be pretty much the greatest review, because Terrence McNally was so moved to then write our artistic director, who happened to be the director, Dimitri Choskas, and say, "This is what I've heard." Yeah. And I trust this man. So it's like, okay. Thanks, Maria.
Yes, absolutely.
every night before I went on stage, I said, "Let's go, Maria.
Yeah.
I need, I'm calling you down, and we will make
Hmm.
lightning strike. We're going to draw a little chalk circle, and we'll go make lightning strike. Because for these 2 hours,
Yeah.
this is the most important thing that anyone will hear in the universe."
Right.
So,
Just to show the diversity going from that to Legally Blonde too.
well, actually, Legally Blonde 2 was many, many years ago. Many years ago. Yeah. And I was
Are you tearing up as we go back in time? Or?
possibly, yes. It's like, oh, I just remember how fresh faced and young I was back then. Um,
No, that was Terminator.
that was Terminator.
Terminator
I know that was Terminator. Oh, I say. I was the senator with a bad, Jennifer Coolidge goes to work on me. She's doing hair for everyone in the Senate, and I end up with the worst possible haircut on the planet. But I think I'm the senator from Florida or Ohio. Anyway, she gets it confused, and then I kind of look at her and get it confused. But yeah, I was, that was lovely. That was fun. That was the coldest winter I think I've ever spent, because it was a couple of weeks in Springfield, Illinois, the land of Lincoln. Lincoln lived there, and
Yes.
in fact, I went to Lincoln's home. Did a tour. There are no trees in Springfield, just for anyone's edification. And I thought, well, Abraham, weren't you cold? Why did you stay here? Why didn't everyone move south? Brutally cold. And I was, and cold and windy and rainy.
Yeah.
The people in the flyover states are the hardiest, the toughest, the greatest constitutions of anyone. Because I have my great relatives were in Wisconsin, Norwegians. And again, I would say to them when we'd go back to visit, really, it's summer here now. It's lovely.
Yeah.
But come January, you're going to be in 5 feet of snow.
Yes.
Why are you here? Why? Explain it. Because I don't understand. You could have just, it's like you left Norway.
Yeah.
Get out of the cold.
To
Didn't
go to
not succeed.
Wisconsin. Yeah.
To go to Wisconsin, right?
But the cheese curds are good, huh?
Cheese curds.
And the beer.
I was just in
Milwaukee.
Minnesota. I was just in Minnesota performing a wedding for two of my very, very dearest friends, and they had cheese curds, and I went, what? Well, I tried a cheese curd, and I was sold. You couldn't. You could. It's like, no, you all get your own plate of cheese curds.
Yeah, that's what. When I was there, I was on a TV shoot, and they said when you go, we were in just west of Milwaukee, and they said that you have to have the cheese curds, you have to have there's a certain custard that you had to have, the Milwaukee beer. There was several things that must be tried while visiting. The countryside is beautiful. The countryside.
Listen, Hayward, Wisconsin. That's where they had this resort, Simonson's Portage Trail Resort on Lake Windigo. And when I say resort, I'm not talking about the Grand Wailea. I am talking about 9 little cabins on a lake, and there were canoes and fishing motorboats, and you could
fish for your supper, and
that's it.
Right.
That's it. You just kind of went there to fish and to get away from it all. But it was wonderful. Yeah, gorgeous.
Do you get a chance to travel, obviously before this COVID thing and everything, but have you been able to travel a lot through your work, or just to get away from all?
Yeah, and I actually traveled through COVID. I did a film in Atlanta. Again, I went to, all the protocols, everything's in place, but went to Minneapolis. Kept my mask on the plane, except when I was eating. So I took a big bag of peanuts and it was like, I'm eating. I'm eating. Still eating. I'm eating.
As they're walking down the aisle. I have 3 peanuts left. I just have 3 peanuts left.
Right, exactly.
I just want to finish these 3.
Big bag of like, I don't know where I'm getting them from. I mean, so yeah, I did some traveling. I've gone to London several times, traveling. A lot of time in Atlanta. Um, where else? I've filmed in New York and
Yeah.
Arizona, and I mean, just various places. South Africa, wonderful.
Yes, we have viewers from
Transylvania,
there. Yeah.
Transylvania and Romania.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. So
You've even been to Cougar Town.
I've even been to Cougar Town. I love these segues. I love these segues. Oh, yes, that was so much fun. Barb Coleman was again one of the greatest characters ever because she didn't have boatloads to say in most of the episodes. But what they wrote for her were these one-liners of comedy gold. And I would just run in, drop the bomb, and then scurry away and watch the destruction. And that was just heaven. That was just heaven.
And what was it like working, with the other actors and actresses and crew and everything there? Because it's a great role as well.
Oh God, Barb was great. But again, and Courtney Cox she was a dedicated professional.
Yes.
Because she was also the executive producer of the show.
Right.
So I mean, I didn't get terribly chummy with her because she was not only worrying about when she was going to pick her kid up from like elementary school, but she was executive producing with Bill Lawrence. So I just tried to make her life easier by getting out of her way. Do you know what I mean? But
there's a theme here with that, making others' lives easier. There's a theme there. Yeah.
You try to listen. It's not brain surgery, but it's also not easy.
Right.
And one bad apple can really spoil it and make it a nightmare. And I've seen it happen.
You've seen it happen.
So she was lovely. I mean, she's like flawlessly gorgeous and funny. The fellows who played her ex-husband, Dan Bird, who played her son, Busy Phillips, lovely. They're all just wonderful. And I just, that's one of those things where how much fun, how badly can I crack the crew up today?
Yes.
Because what they wrote for Barb, oh my goodness. In fact, someone years ago had gotten together all of the Barb clips, the best of Barb. And it was about 10, 15 minutes long. And it was so good and so well produced that I contacted this person. And I said, I'm Barb. Can I use your video as my comedy reel? Wow. And they went, oh gosh, yes. And I went, thank you.
Right.
Barb A to Z, and you can't get better. So yeah, I used that as my comedy reel for years. For years.
That is fantastic.
Yeah, it was so gorgeous.
A Snow White Christmas.
Oh, again.
Another great one.
Again. Gosh, yeah, this girl who played Snow White, just lovely, but again, the delightful ingenue.
Yes.
And here I am playing the updated version of the evil queen. And that was such a fun performance. So much fun. Yeah, terrific. And I actually walked away with a lot of wardrobe.
You did.
Well,
there are plus sides to it, all right?
There's always a plus. But yes, the version of the evil queen. When we first meet her, Blanca Snow has dropped a special ornament like that. This connection that she had with her father. So it's a very special ornament because, it was for Hallmark and Life. They're all very cozy and wonderful and delightful. So she's got this special relationship with her father who's passed on. My husband, I'm her stepmother, and she's dropped this ornament on the carpet, but she's misplaced her glasses. And I just come walking in and I just crush it with my shoe. It's like, oh, did I step on that? Oh, I'm so sorry.
I see that you take great pleasure in some of these roles.
Oh, of course, you have to. Of course.
No
Of
therapy is
course.
needed. Just get one of
No
these roles.
therapist
You
needed.
can work
Yeah,
it
I'll
all
never.
out.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
I think my therapist was frightened of me.
Yeah. Do you lean, or is there a preference? I mean, because you're so multi-talented in all these different areas, as film, stage, television, uh, dramatic or comedic, or do you love when it's
I l
dramedy, when it's
I
the
love
combination?
the combination of the two is wonderful. Um, I love hearing people laugh. I love making people laugh. That is bread and butter to me. That's oxygen. Um, so comedy, it will always probably be first and foremost. Now, if you can do like a Mrs. Valentine or a Penelope Ellis or a Mrs. Chesterfield or sometimes Diane Miller, um, if the stakes can be very high and you know, and yet you can still be funny,
Yeah.
that's the best of all possible worlds. That's really the best of all possible worlds.
You mentioned also you're a prolific writer and you have this wonderful series of books, children's themed books. Tell us about this. How did the Pandora series actually, what was the inspiration for that? How did it begin?
I was in a writing workshop, and we would meet on Saturdays at this woman's private home, and I mean, people were working on um, novels and plays and you know whatever.
Heavy
I was
duty
very much
stuff.
a
Yeah.
dilettante. I was a dilettante. I was just kind of there for the camaraderie, and it was fun. And we had a discussion of Gregory Maguire's Wicked. We had like a just a discussion of that. And I started writing a series of short stories based on misunderstood women in fiction, very much like Elphaba. And she wasn't bad, she wasn't wicked, she was misunderstood.
She misunderstood.
Absolutely. So one of these stories was a 13-year-old Pandora, based on the daughter of a boyfriend at the time. It's just awful. Sorry, so everything that is was so I was writing these short stories, and I wrote one about Pandora and kind of based it on this girl, how she was sullen and morose, and she was angsty teenager. But when you're kind of in a relationship with her father, you don't want to have to deal with that. Whatever. I was not patient. So I channeled it all into writing this short story. And I read this short story, which ends up being chapter 4 in book 1. That's pretty much basically the short story.
Sherry
And
Larson says, I read an excerpt from the first book. Love the humor, show and tell with daddy's liver.
yes, exactly. That's true. That's true. So a visiting author from Ireland heard me read this short story and said, no, 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 no. That doesn't need to be a short story. That can be a novel for young adults. And he and I met once for coffee while he was here visiting. And I said, well, what about 3 books? Not knowing what I was getting myself into at all. And he goes, absolutely, 3 books. But I want to see this visiting author said, I want to see the outline for the first book, in a week. And I went, okay. So I started writing the outline, and then I just went, I just have to write the book. I'm just going to write the book. And this premise is that 13-year-old Pandora, whose father is Prometheus. I minored in Greek and Roman mythology at university, so I knew I knew a lot about it. So that's kind of like the one deviation from the classical Greek myth, that Prometheus is not Pandora's brother-in-law. In this, he's her father. And as far as I know, nobody is alive who was alive back then to tell me that I was wrong. So she's a demigod. She's part immortal. She's part human. And but she's 13. She lives in ancient Greece. There are gods and goddesses and monsters and heroes and everything's, temples and everything's flying around, and she's right in the thick of it. But there's a universal overlay to it. So, there's the fast falafel shop, and her mother goes to get her hair done at, Calypso's clay pot beauty emporium. I mean, and she goes to the Athena Maiden Middle School, and she and her 2 best friends are not terribly popular, but they've all had every girl at the school has had this big project due for 3 months. But Pandora's curiosity has led her astray. It's the night before the project is due. She's got bupkis. She's got nothing. And she inadvertently finds the box holding the box that holds all the evil in the world. The source of the 7 great evils, kind of a takeoff on the Judeo-Christian evils. And she knows she's not supposed to even think about it, but wouldn't it be great to take to school for show and tell, because she's taken her dad's liver that, got pecked out by anyway, if you read the myth of Prometheus, gives fire to mankind. She's taken the liver, everyone's seen that. She's taken the bit of the eternal flame that her father stole from Zeus and gave to man. Boring. So wouldn't it be great to take a box holding all the evils in the world? And she does. And naturally, all hell breaks loose.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's summoned up to Olympus, and Zeus says, okay, really? You knew you weren't supposed to think about it, and you took it to school. And you let these other girls get their hands on it just to be popular? I mean, what? So here's your choice. Eternal torture and torment in the flame pits of Tartarus and Hades, or you have to go and get everything that got out of the box, back in the box. You alone in your family can do it. Nobody else in your family can help you. What's your decision? And you've got 6 months. And she says, okay, I'll do it. I'm going to die, but I will do it. So, and her 2 best friends come with her, because as they say, we're more family than our biological family. These 3 girls. And if you don't save the world, there won't be anything left to come home to anyway. So they set off, and she's given this funky map. She's got to learn how to read it. She takes her shepherd dog with her because he won't stay at home without her. And so and then in book 2, they meet the gladiator school dropout named Homer, who just wants to be a poet like his ancestor. And so these 4 kids go off, and they're, and it takes them 7 books. And I won't let you know, but obviously they find 6 of them.
Yeah.
So there's one book per evil. So,
how did you have time to even write them with all the work that you do?
I found the time. I made the time. I also think it's possibly, from my brain, the best, the greatest, the best thing that I've done. It's the best footprint up to now that I've left. So
yeah,
it's great. And you can read it at the age of 7. I've had as young as 6, but it's basically like 8 to 13, boys and girls. But I've had all ages.
All ages.
Oh, they just they enjoy it.
That's not the only one, too. The Secret Life of Damian Spinelli. Now, this is unique what you've done here. I don't want to give it all away, but tell us about this. This is very cool.
Well, I was called in, I think it was about 2010. I was called into the 5th floor. Jill Farron Phelps was producing General Hospital, and she said, well, myself and Bob Guza, at that time the head writer, they said, we know you can write, right? Because you sold these books. You've got 3 of these Pandora books out on the shelves now, and you're rewriting more. So this is what we think you can write something for us. We want a fictionalized account, a novel, using all the characters in Port Charles, the main characters, from one particular character's point of view, Damian Spinelli. And I went, okay. So I came up with the idea of like 16, 17 short stories, because for those of your viewers and listeners who know General Hospital, Damian Spinelli, he's this computer hacker, this nerd extraordinaire. His IQ is off the chart, but in his head, he thinks he's Sam Spade. He's right out of Dashiell Hammett. So he taught, he's the jackal. So one night, Diane Miller gets a note slipped under her door saying, please meet the jackal before he has to go to bed. His bedtime is very early. Please meet him. He needs to speak with you. And so my Diane does, and they spend the night at the Night Owl Cafe, and he tells her all of these stories because he's about to go off on another mission, the jackal, the next day, and he might not come back. So he wants her to know all these stories about all of her clients, most of whom are, some aren't, but all of these main characters. And and because they've been entrusted, he was there, so he needs to tell her all of these things. So they spend the night, and my character Diane is just sitting listening, going, "Stop it! You did not do this. They did not do that." And he goes, "I swear to God." So he goes from being the jackal while he's telling stories down to, back to nebbishy Damien Spinelli when Diane calls him on stuff across the table. It's a great telling. And anyone who knows, Jasper Jacks, who knows about Luke's marriage to Tracy, not just to Laura, but to Tracy, and what that entails, and the dynamics there. Anyone who knows how Alexis's mother was killed, anyone, right? All of this would love this, because I had to do a book signing about a month ago, and I was sitting there. I started rereading it again. I went, "Oh gosh, that's funny. Oh, that's funny. Yeah. Oh, look at that."
Right.
Okay. So I was just so pleased, and it landed, thanks to the fans, these genius fans. It landed at number 10 on the New York Times bestseller list when it debuted.
Spectacular.
So,
Congratulations on that. Do you see more similar works coming? Has this sort of tickled your fancy?
I'd love to do another pass with some of the new characters, or revisit some of these older characters, like in the last 11 years. What has happened to them in the last 11 years? So I'd love to. I think that would be fun. Yeah.
I mentioned as well, you were talking about wonderful people and nice people in the industry that, do exist. And there's one that we lost who has always had this similar tending to an appreciation for and love for animals, as you do. And you're a wonderful, animal welfare activist. And of course, we're talking about the incomparable Betty White.
Betty White, great.
Tell us about.
She like myself. We weren't activists. We were advocates.
Yes,
and the difference is vast.
Yes.
Activists do not, and again, I'm speaking very generally here, very broad strokes, but activists do not necessarily understand the necessity at this point for modern zoos and aquariums. Betty understood that. She was one of the for the Los Angeles Zoo. She was the great ambassador for the LA Zoo, and I am now an ambassador for the LA Zoo. But again, Betty was the crown jewel. We're just all like little diamonds in the tiara. She was it, and I don't know how anyone's gonna take her place.
Her.
But advocates like Betty, like myself, understand the necessity that where we are right now in human-animal interaction, human-animal history, modern zoos and aquariums are the last arcs of preservation. There are no more wild spaces. We can't destroy the zoos and walk hand in hand down Main Street with the elephants. We can't do that. And that returning something, burning down the zoos and returning things to the wild, you might as well hang a sign on them that says "Poach me." And many of them do not know how to survive in the wild.
Right.
And we must allow them to be the incredible ambassadors, because little Billy and Timmy and Susie from Milwaukee, maybe they've never seen an orca. Maybe they will never get into the deepest, darkest Congo. Maybe they will never get onto the veldt, onto the savannah. They will never see these animals in the wild. But we do not care about what we don't know about. So listen, when I reincarnate, I want to come back as an orca at SeaWorld, because that's the level of care and love that these animals get. Blackfish was a smear campaign. We can talk about that another time. Just understand that. Or I want to come back as Billy the bull elephant at the Los Angeles Zoo, who was at the age of 4 was taken out of a Thai jungle because he'd seen his mother blown up by a landmine. So he was brought to the United States, as opposed to being put into a lumber camp or a logging camp. So the care that he receives is extraordinary. So advocates understand that. They understand that the best care that many species can get, because we lose 150 species a day from the planet.
Which is
Sometimes
unbelievable.
small little
Yeah.
amoeba. Sometimes,
Yeah.
sometimes it's a metaterrestrial. It's a big animal, and we'll never, like the West African black rhinoceros, West African white rhinoceros. We'll never see them again, except there are cryogenically frozen sperm and eggs. So, and I know where they are because I've seen them in their cryotubes. So we have the specimens. We can repopulate, you know, if we can ever find a scrap of land that's, you know, that's wild, that they could inhabit. So the hope is there. The hope is there for many, many species. And again, you know, modern, I'm not talking about the roadside attractions. We need to shut those down as soon as possible.
Right.
Positive reinforcement training in modern zoos and aquariums. That's the ticket, because when the metaterrestrials, the elephants, the rhinos, the giraffes, when the metamarines, the orcas, the gray whales, the blue whales, when they go, we are not far behind. It's just that simple. So saving them is saving us.
You're even saying that because of the ice melt happening up north, the polar bears are running out of places to even live.
I don't actually know. I'm not as well versed on that. There are two schools of thought. I know that is one of them, but I also know that there's another school of thought, and which says that is not true. By people who know, by non-activists, but by behaviorologists, behaviorists, zoological staff, zoological researchers who have gone up and who have scouted and who have seen. So there are two schools of thought. I cannot speak to it as much as I would like to. So, but if it is true, then shame on us. Listen, you know, the staff at SeaWorld, they have the collection, which they, you know,
right.
But behind the scenes, where very few people ever get to go, where I've been many, many times, that's where they do the 3 R's: rescue, rehabilitate, release.
That's right.
They want it. They'll bring them in, they will rehabilitate them, and then they'll send them back out. But because 95% of what lives in the ocean habitates a 2 to 5 mile strip around the coast of every continent. The deep water, 5%. Deep water. When you get out like 7, then you're getting into deeper water.
Mm-hmm.
7 miles. And we have turned that 2 to 5 mile strip into a sewer. If you think about it and you think it might be in there, you're probably right.
Yes.
Oil spills. It's
the amount of plastic that's floating in the ocean.
Please. Yeah. And now they're finding it in the animals, they're
ingesting it, even medicines.
In the Marianas Trench. Yeah. That's deep water. That's the lowest point on the planet.
That's the lowest point.
What? But when I talk about SeaWorld, it's like because of water melting and the water getting warmer in this sewer, the sea lions off the coast, the West Coast, it's what they call the stranding chain. The moms who have born their pups, they have to go deeper and deeper out into the ocean, further and further out, in order to feed themselves, in order to be able to produce milk for their pups, and they strand their pups. Sometimes they can't get back. So these pups, SeaWorld will go out and they will take them in, they will nurse them to full health, full run, and I've been on the boats when they release them, and it's the damnedest thing you've ever seen. It's so glorious. It's so glorious. So yeah, but that work wouldn't be done if activists had their way. So I mean, and so we would lose more species faster, and we cannot afford to do that. Right. So to anyone listening, contact your local zoo, take a visit. If you see something that you think is not right, talk to somebody. Don't just take my word for it, but if it's a great zoo, San Diego, Columbus, Los Angeles Zoo, the Monterey, the Georgia Aquarium, but talk to people, talk to the staff there. And if you still have questions, talk to them again. and get your answers, and make sure that you are comfortable now speaking for something that is doing good for the planet, good for the animals, these creatures that cannot speak for themselves. So
Exactly right. Beautifully said. Absolutely beautifully said. Kathleen Walker in New York City had a question, and she wanted to know how much or is the character you play on General Hospital you, and how much of you is the character?
a lot. Sure. I mean, absolutely. If you couldn't tell, because it was only supposed to be 2 days, when they kept bringing me back, and I started realizing that I was gonna be around for a while. Bob Guza and Jill and I and some of the other writers, just in passing, we would talk about Diane. So I was partially instrumental in crafting Diane. So of course, it's going to come out, as a lot like me. She has she did. I think she did have a better fashion sense. Now I think I'm on par. And Carolyn got her love of shoes from Diane Miller.
From Diane.
Yeah.
So you got your question answered there in New York City, Kathleen Walker. She said because you play her well.
Well, thank you. I know her.
Exactly. Linda Odell in Florida says, Carolyn, you're a very photogenic, very pretty woman.
Thank you. God bless. God bless my new best friend.
Yeah, right. This was fantastic.
Thank you so much.
What do you have? Is there anything coming up that you wanted to share? Anything you're exciting about? New year, new things happening that we can look for?
I'm doing one of the leads in a animated series called Big Nate, based on the book series. So I play Mrs. Godfrey on Big
Fantastic.
Nate. So that premieres, I think, on the 22nd. It's sometime in January. That's going to
Where can they see that?
They're on Paramount Plus.
On Paramount Plus.
Nickelodeon production, Paramount Plus. I just what's it called? Vanished, Searching for My Sister. That is with Tatiana Ali and Jasmine Guy, who's a hoot and a half, and boy, tear up Mary Mac's Tea Room in Atlanta. Whew, good food. That's coming. That might be the 22nd. Anyway, that's going to be on Lifetime. So check the Lifetime schedule. And I'm in talks to sell a thing that I wrote with my two writing partners about either Lifetime, Netflix, or Hallmark Christmas movie about a woman of a certain age who finds love on a trapeze. What? It's like, and then people have said, "Now, do you have to star in this?" I said, "Yeah, I do."
Yes,
Yes,
this one I want.
This one's mine. This one's mine. It's like, well, are you sure she can't be 20? No, she cannot be 20.
There was somebody here joining us who just wanted to send his love, George Burns, in the house.
Say goodnight, Gracie. George Burns. Oh,
it's got a cigar and everything there.
I love that. Boy, they have the great relationship.
Yes, huh?
I love George Burns, also known as God.
Yes. So you had God on your side. He said you were amazing today. I hope the show met whatever expectations you had, Carolyn. And
wonderful.
You enjoyed the time with me as much as I certainly have with you.
Absolutely did. Let's do it again.
Absolutely.
So much more to talk about.
There's so much more to talk about, right? And you have your hands in so many different things. The main thing is you love it. I mean, what are some of those blessings and joys in your life that continue to forge you ahead, keeping you forged ahead, doing what you're doing in such a beautiful way?
Saving as many species as I possibly can. That's number one, because that's bigger. That's saving the spaceship that is our planet, because the rivets are popping out and I'm trying to run around and be Rosie the Riveter. That's bigger than any acting role that I will ever do. Hearing people laugh, that's again like oxygen to me. Testing the limits of my own physical form on the trapeze, and knowing that I am contributing in some small way, because they say, the more you laugh, the more years you add to your life. So
yes,
acting is to educate and entertain. And if I can educate and entertain them as many people as possible, fantastic. I have to be behind it, but also then on a slightly elevated level, it's for me, because acting. I had a teacher tell me this once: acting and non-contact sports like running, swimming are the noblest ways of experiencing yourself, because you get to turn so many facets to the light, as it were, and just kind of you get to explore yourself, and that's wonderful. So it's a blessing for me. It's just a blessing for me.
Well, having you joining us was a blessing for me and all of us, Carolyn. You really are amazing, and you're a hoot. You're a hoot.
I am a hoot. Darn you. I have to tell you that your intro, you've got to redo your intro, man. How many people tell you this?
Because the hair's longer?
You've got this lion mane. It's fantastic. You've got
this was a pandemic production.
Well,
it's always been shorter like him.
Yeah.
And
that's nice.
everything I did, on television or whatever, I was always like, gee, that I can't grow it longer. So then when, shoots weren't happening and planes weren't flying for a bit last year in the early part of the pandemic and all, I said, you know what the heck? Let's just do it. And it's been a thing that the viewers, even on this series, have been following, how it's just sort of, and
it's fantastic. It is fantastic.
Thumbs up from Carolyn.
You look like one of the Knights Templar. You look fantastic. And I too tried to grow my hair long, and it was a tragedy. And then
you don't have any photos to speak of, do you? No.
I do, and no one will.
My father has always said, and I've mentioned it on the show, whenever anybody says something nice to you, tell them, please put it in writing and address it management.
Yeah, that's right. And then, of course, there's, what is it? I think it's Dorothy Parker who says, if you don't have anything nice to say about anybody, come sit by me.
Right. You were amazing. This was fantastic. High five. This was awesome.
High five. Boom. And
beautiful, lovely Burbank.
All the wonderful
the Lovities.
The Lovities.
And they already said you're a Lovity. So I mean, there's Emmys, Oscars, Grammys, Tonys, Peabodys, Tellys, but then there's a Lovity on the Jim Master Show Live. How does that make you feel?
I feel fantastic. I feel wrapped in a warm blanket of levity.
You are. And there's no turning back now, Carolyn.
There's none. Who wants to?
You are it. Kathleen Walker says, wonderful show. Thank you, Jim and Carolyn. So nice to meet you, Carolyn. Welcome to our Lovity family. And she's in New York City. Juanita in South Africa says, this was a great conversation. Thank you, Carolyn, for spending time with us, sharing your wonderful career and stories. Mary Bishop says, she's in Florida. Loved hearing about your career, Carolyn. Good luck in all your future endeavors. Sherry Larson in Kansas, USA. Thank you for sharing with us tonight. Keep your wonderful work. She, as an advocate.
I know what she means, and God bless.
Active advocate. Good stuff. You're the best. Thanks for all the great time too. I really appreciate it. And you did it without a glass of water. I mean, you're a pro.
I know, right? Right.
So,
I don't know, eat something. Who knows?
Yes, eat something and have something with ice.
I will. Thank you, and love to everybody out there.
Absolutely. Best to you, Carolyn. Keep up the amazing, wonderful work, but also don't change. You're phenomenal. Okay. We'll see you again soon, okay?
You got it.
Take care. Bye-bye now. Carolyn Hennesy here on the show. She's an author, she's an actress, and she's an advocate. Yes. So good to see her and to learn about her extraordinary background a little bit more. Of course, you guys know her for a lot of the different shows that we've been talking about, but maybe you watch her on television or see her in the movies, or you've seen her on stage. And now you got an opportunity to learn a little bit more about the person themselves. And that's what's great, because we take, deep dives a little bit here, and we just there's no scripted questions. There's no teleprompters, none of that jazz. We just have a conversation. I even call these interviews, I call these conversations. And that's what we do, bringing all of you in. You've been commenting live throughout the Lovities. We thank you very much, watching all around the world. Continue to do that on our YouTube channel. Comment on the channel. love the channel, give it a subscribe. The channel is Jim Masters TV. We would love that. And again, it was really awesome having her here on the show. She really is spectacular. And as Luke Grant said to Mary Taylor Moore, she's got spunk. He hated spunk, but we love it. Carolyn Hennesy, extraordinary Emmy-winning actress, and so much more. Again, love these conversations. We get a chance to learn a little bit more about the person themselves. And we talked about the books. I mean, great story about this with Terminator 3, right? Now, when you see that again, if you watch it again, you're going to know and appreciate what she went through to get that hair to look like that. All these incredible roles over the years, each one unique, each one special. And again, so many. Of course, that's Masterclass, which is one of her favorites and our favorites as well. Revenge. This, I know you guys commented a lot about the shot with Betty White, of course. And of course, Diane Miller, General Hospital, beloved. I know a lot of the General Hospital fans were excited that she was coming on our show because I was seeing a buzz on the internet about it. And that's fantastic. She is really terrific, gang. And so are you. Thanks for all these great comments. Again, we encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. Show us some lovely. Click the notification bell so you never miss any of our great episodes. And click like if you enjoyed this episode. And also leave a comment for us as well. And as we always say, and again, actress, author, and advocate. That's right. There is a difference. And you know, you can be an activist in terms of believing in something, but definitely you're advocating for something. And that's what she does. It's what Betty White did as well. We say, don't forget to smile, gang. And of course, don't forget to share the Lovity, the JMS Lovity. And also find your Zen place. There's the ocean. You guys know I love that. And my work in television, radio, stage, and film over the years, the same thing as well. Help us grow. Share the Lovity. Tell everybody you know about the Jim Masters Show Live. Share the links on your social media. And of course, spread the word about our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. Thanks for being here, gang, for those watching live and those of you who have been watching in the archives later on. Kathleen Walker says, thank you, Jim. You are very, very welcome. A pleasure to have you here as well. And wonderful show tonight. Good night, all. And really good stuff. Since we're live, you know, that's why they say good night or good morning or good day. Yes, advocate. The phone types what it wants. That happens. That absolutely happens. You guys are fantastic. Thanks for being with us in this episode. We'll see you on the next one. We're back actually tomorrow night as well with another fabulous guest. And check us, check your local listings on our YouTube channel for all the episodes. Don't forget, you can find me here on not only YouTube, but also Facebook and Instagram and Twitter at Jim Masters TV. But our series, The Jim Masters Show Live, is right here on our YouTube channel. And we love it. Love doing it for all of you. And thanks for all the great comments. One more time, we thank Carolyn for joining us here on the Jim Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series. We thank all of you. Be well, be good to one another, take care, and we'll see you next time right here on the Jim Masters Show Live. We love you all. Take care.